DORK Podcast with Rich Keefe. It's the DORK Podcast. And Davey. It's the DORK Podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Rhino Von Dino. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan Davey. Davey, how are you?
You know, I'm okay.
Yeah,
you know, I'm okay. I'm a little late tonight, which it's like my biggest like stress trigger in my life is being late places.
All right. Listen,
I know it's all right for you. It's not all right for me. I hold myself to a higher standard.
Understood.
You know, I like to be prompt, and I apologize to everybody who is listening tomorrow in their car because I'm late because they
at
really
their own
no
time.
idea.
Yep,
on their own time.
Listen to us whenever you want. You can listen to us live on YouTube on Monday nights, or you can listen to us whenever the mood strikes.
That's right.
The week, and I'm very excited about our topic du jour today. So we got really a couple of dinks. We got a couple of dink episodes to throw your way here tonight. So let's not mess around, waste any more time. And
This week in DORK. Yeah.
now, Ryan, it is my understanding that you've seen the film sensation Wicked. Is that true?
Yes, it is true. So we went yesterday. We were supposed to do the podcast yesterday.
Yep.
And it was my wife's birthday, and we knew we were going to go see Wicked. The only time she could get 4 seats together at any theater within like a 20-mile radius of us was at 7:30 at night. As you know, it's a 3-hour movie, basically.
It's a long, but did it feel that long?
No, it did not.
All
It
right.
did not. I will tell you this. So I've seen Wicked. I've seen the show. I've seen the broad not on Broadway, but I've seen like the traveling show.
Yep.
Excellent. Like
Okay.
the movie blows it away. Now, I will say, because they didn't market it like this. So basically, it's part 1. So it's the first act of the play.
Yes.
So for those of you who've seen the play, it's the whole first act. And I got to tell you, I floated this idea to you that I was gonna have my wife come in and give you the review of this movie.
Yeah.
She's like too overwhelmed to speak on it right now. She loved it that much.
I'm struck. Okay, so
Like,
she's not gonna say anything about it.
No, she can't. She's too emotionally invested in this. And she was like, what's great is like she was like a Oz fan growing up, like not just like the Wizard of Oz. Like she owned all the books, like and Wicked and like all the Frank Lloyd Baum. She had like the collected, like big thing. So she's a huge fan, and she's like, that's when I picture Oz, like that was like what I pictured.
No shit. So what would your dork score be for it?
It's a 6.
No shit.
I'm not kidding.
Huh?
Like, and now we talk about this from time to time. We talk about like movies that's why you go to the movies.
Yeah.
Right. And like people who probably saw The Wizard of Oz for the first time were probably like, holy shit.
Blew their mind. Yeah.
Like this movie, like see it in the biggest screen with the best sound you can.
Mhm.
It's visually and auditory, like candy. It's so good.
I do want to see it. I don't know if I'm going to get to the theater to see it, but I do want to see it. Now, one thing I've heard, and I've never seen the play or the film yet, but from my understanding is I knew it was part 1, but I've also been told or have read is that all of the heaters from the play, like the kick-ass headbanger songs, are all in part 1.
Yes, so the best songs in the play are all in part 1, but the story gets way more compelling in act 2.
Now, okay, so that's interesting because that's coming out next year. They filmed them back to back, right? So boom, it's right back next year. I guess there's going to be some original songs, which could certainly go boom or bust.
Yes, because you've seen plays before. Act 2 is usually shorter, so I think they're going to try to like add some stuff to it, which is interesting. One thing I didn't know, Cynthia Erivo?
Yeah.
So Ariana Grande to me is like the smallest person in the world.
Yes.
Like she's like 5'1" and like 80 pounds. Like she's this.
Quite,
I didn't know
small.
Cynthia Erivo is shorter than her.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I think she's like 5 flat and Ariana Grande is like 5'1".
But Ryan, their voices couldn't be bigger.
Oh,
come on.
Powerhouse.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, I'm not a musical guy. Like I'm not gaga for musicals. This was on another level. This was so good.
All right.
So good. It's a 6. It's honestly a 6.
All
It
right,
might. I mean, it's going to be nominated for an Oscar for best film.
Yeah, that's the hubbub. They're saying that there might be room for a couple of like successful movies, because most of the movies nominated are going to be like, nobody saw it. But they say like between Dune Part 2, Wicked, maybe Gladiator 2, although I'd be surprised if Gladiator.
I would be very surprised.
But Dune and Wicked both should be, I would think. Yeah, all right. And maybe it'll be nominated for a Dork Award as well. Now that Davey has seen it, we could fill out the ballot that way. Interesting. All right. We also, since our last episode, got a Superman trailer. James Gunn's Superman comes out next July. And when they originally put out like a 10-second teaser, it was getting a lot of criticism. And then even after the trailer, a lot of people thought it looked like a CW show. They were curious that the look was a little off. Did you have any problem with how it looked?
No, there were a couple of shots that were like seemed like washed, like it was like overexposed, like it looked like way too bright.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can fix that. And I'm sorry, I didn't know everybody on the internet was a fucking color grading expert.
Everybody is
you use fucking iMovie one time and you think you're a fucking filmmaker.
This doesn't look right. But Crypto, we knew Crypto was going to be in it. But the Superdog looking pretty good, I would say.
Looking good in a good entrance too. He's cruising.
A lot going on. There's a lot of characters in this. A lot of different,
I was reading
people.
James Gunn said it's like all that stuff's from the beginning of the movie.
Makes sense. He knows what he's doing with trailers.
He knows what he's doing. Like he knows what he's doing. You've seen his sci-fi stuff. He knows what he's doing. His comic book properties.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're in great hands with James Gunn insofar as Creature Commandos, which is rolling right along. Episode 4 just came out of Creature Commandos. This show's fantastic.
Renewed for season 2 as of today.
Good.
Again, I'm not going to give too much away if you haven't seen the episode, but like, how do you get me to care this much about that character?
They do it every week. They pick a different character every week. And you're like, the 2 characters that they've highlighted over the last 2 weeks were definitely, if you just put all of them side by side, and you're like, which 2 do you give the least shits about? It'd be like those 2. And then you watch an episode and you're like, God damn it, I love both of them. I love them both so much.
And again, like he's such a good writer. So you're looking at the title of the episode and you're like, meh. And then like the way the title of the episode is brought into the actual episode, like it's a line of dialogue. You're like, fuck me. Like, damn you. It's so good.
It's so good. And it's 22 minutes of crazy animation and it flies by. It's literally all different creatures.
Yeah.
And God damn it. You feel you love it.
You know what I did find interesting too, and we surmised that this would happen, but I looked at the Superman cast list, and Frank Grillo is listed as Rick Flag Sr.
Hell yeah, cast. Yeah. Well, it's canon. Like he straight up was very strong to say, James Gunn was, that like this is all canon, and he's like some of the stuff like from Peacemaker is going to carry over, and maybe like the Suicide Squad, but for the most part, like Superman's the first movie and Creature Commandos is the first show. So like this is the DCU. So all this stuff counts. So pretty great. Skeleton Crew, the other show that's rolling right along. Episode 4 just came out. I think for me overall, it might have been the weakest episode of the 4, but it's still good. Like it's
really good. And I love Neil. And it's such a Neil episode. But there's at the end of it too, like the end of the episode, you're starting to piece together like what this is about.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of digging it, like what they're doing with it.
I love this idea of like this hidden planet thing and like the lore. I love it. I think it's a great idea. And then like you're learning more about the characters and like Jude Law and like, do we trust this guy? Do we not trust this guy?
So can we talk about this series a little bit, since we're like, it's not so he can do things, but it's not. He's like, I never said I was that.
I know, but maybe he is, maybe he isn't.
Do you think he's like one of those people who was like training and then Order 66 happened?
Could have bailed on it. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the timing of this. He would have been, because this is what, after episode 6.
Uh-huh.
So Yeah, no, he's way older than like Kylo Ren. Is Kylo Ren even alive yet? Maybe he's a baby.
He's a kid. Yeah.
He's a baby. All right. So yeah, I was thinking like Knights of Ren stuff, but no, it's probably none of that.
Or maybe he was like training as a Jedi and then bailed.
Yeah, possible. Possible.
Yeah.
So we spoke about the new Christopher Nolan movie last week or the week before, and we just simply had the cast. And this was my idea. And I know Davey might think differently, at least for now. But my idea was this will never happen in the modern time. Could you just say the name of a director and list the cast, and then don't ever give a trailer, don't even give a title, just like have people show up and watch it and have no idea even what genre it is? I think it could have worked with Nolan, knowing that it was like Holland, Zendaya, Matt Damon, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o. Like, people go see it. Today, it came out that they're going to do The Odyssey. Ryan, is this going to be? Is you going to take your class to go see this movie?
The classics department of St. Mark's School will shut down. Shut the fuck down that Friday. We are doing nothing else.
Yeah.
We are taking the entire program. Now, it depends on what it's rated. I don't know if I can get away with it.
How many R movies has Nolan done? I feel like he works in the PG-13 space, doesn't he?
There's a lot of shit that goes down in these stories that you've never read, that I'm not all of you, but I don't think you've ever read the entire Odyssey. That like there's some heavy shit, and I'm man, like I hope it's not like a modern take. I hope it's like we're going for it, like we're telling the story like as is.
Yeah,
you know, and there's a way to do it that would be awesome.
Is there any way to do it in 2.5 hours?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, this has to be two-part. This has got to be a two-parter. But I don't know if Nolan will do that.
Right.
I would do it in 3 parts.
Okay.
But I don't think you can.
I'm trying to look up the ratings of his movies and I can't find it, but I
think they're all PG-13. I think you're right.
They kind of are.
Memento might be R.
Yeah, maybe Memento. But like Oppenheimer, was that R?
That was like PG.
Okay.
Oh no, there was nudity in that.
There's okay.
There was humping. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say yeah, that seems pretty daunting. But maybe it's a 3-parter. Maybe he goes Dark Knight. It's got to be a 3-parter style.
It's got to be a 3-parter, and you would break it up 4 books at a time. But there's a scene there, like he starts telling his story.
Yeah.
To somebody, and then I see now. I'm like wondering, like who's playing who?
Who would Tom Holland play?
I mean, he's too young to be Odysseus.
Yeah.
So my guess, well, it depends on when they start. So if they start in the Trojan War when he's a kid, like them going, because that's the Iliad, like them getting there, and the Odyssey is him getting home. So Odysseus is old when it takes him 10 years to get home. What they could do is have what would be kind of cool. You said Matt Damon's in it.
Yeah.
So like Tom Holland is young Odysseus and Matt Damon's old Odysseus.
Good, yeah.
It's 20 years difference between the two.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, like I'm getting like a list of characters.
Yeah, what do you got?
So like Odysseus, like I said, Penelope. So who else is in the cast?
All right, so Robert Pattinson.
Yep.
Is in it. Lupita Nyong'o.
Yep.
Charlize Theron.
Okay, so what I would love for Tom Holland and Zendaya to be Odysseus and Penelope, like husband and wife.
Nice.
I would love Lupita Nyong'o to be Cersei.
Okay.
Charlize Theron she'd be a great Athena.
Oh, she would be a good Athena. Anne Hathaway is also in it.
Anne Hathaway. Calypso.
Whew. Who else am I missing? No, that's all we have right now. Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, Charlize Theron. That's what we got for right now.
Or you could do Matt Damon as Odysseus and Tom Holland as Telemachus, his son.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
And then Charlize Theron could be Penelope, and then you could have the younger be the witches, Cersei and Calypso. That would be fun. But then you get like, I hope they go, like, I hope there's the thing with the Cyclops. I hope there's Scylla and Charybdis. I hope that all of those things happen in this story. Oh, we get some harpies and
do you think
great?
Do you think that'll be a standalone episode for us?
It'd have to be. Like, I can't not talk about this. Like, I'm going to be talking about this until this movie comes out.
It might be several. Maybe we do like five different parts.
Oh, who? Robert Pattinson. What if Robert Pattinson? What would be cool is if Robert Pattinson was, because I see Matt Damon now as like a Nestor, like an older guy. Nestor was the oldest of the Greek generals.
Okay.
And kind of like a mentor to Odysseus. So who plays Odysseus? Tom Holland or Robert Pattinson?
I think Holland.
He's too young. I feel like Pattinson could do it, and then, but he
probably would be good.
He's also too old to play to be Robert Pattinson's son.
Right.
So I'm torn. I don't know what to do here. He's going to add more people.
It's in good hands.
Now that this is announced and like Variety put it out, like there's going to be actors being like, I want in on this.
Give me in on that
right now. Like Florence Pugh. Like, give me Florence Pugh as like, Nausicaa or something like that.
He'll get whoever he wants. I mean, that's for sure. So yeah, that's very exciting news. Right, I watched a bunch of movies recently. I watched Cuckoo on Hulu. Hulu. Pretty good. Weird like horror movie. I'll tell you that Dan Stevens, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent in this. Hunter Schafer's really good too as the lead, but Dan Stevens, who's good in everything, is good in this. I watched Juror Number 2. This is the Clint Eastwood movie, and I don't want to give too much of it away. I just feel like this is a movie that too much of a coincidence is like the plot revolves around too much of a coincidence for me.
Yeah,
but it's getting decent buzz. There's a list. I forget what it is. It's not the Oscars, obviously, because that's not out yet. There's a list that every year they put out their like 10 best movies of the year, and this was on there. And so it is not one of the 10 best movies of the year. In fact, Katie came in halfway through while I was watching it, and she was just like, "What is this movie?" She thought it was like she thought it was like a TV movie or something. I'm like, "No, this is Clint Eastwood directed, starring Nicholas Hoult, Toni Collette, and like it's supposed to be a really good movie." And kind of was. It was fine, but it kind of wasn't. And then I also watched Carry On, the #1 movie from Netflix, which was just a poor. It was like a freshman team's Die Hard. Like they wanted, and they set it on Christmas Eve. Taron Egerton's got to like do all kinds of shit. Jason Bateman plays the bad guy though, and so that's what we got.
Have you seen when he goes on like late night shows, Jason Bateman, and like, is it Kimmel or Fallon will just like bring up a random celebrity and he knows everybody? Or has met everybody?
He's been in the game a long time.
And he was just like, oh yeah, like here's Sammy Davis Jr. And he's like, oh yeah, like I was on the Tonight Show and it was like one of Sammy Davis Jr.'s like last stand-up routines, and like I talked to him for a while, like backstage. He's like, how the fuck?
Yeah,
like he knows everybody.
This guy's He's got a very successful podcast. I would imagine he could just tell stories when he met people.
Oh God, yeah.
All right, Ryan, that's very good. Let's get to this.
Y'all ready for biz?
Topic du jour time, Ryan.
Yeah, great.
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's the topic of the day. And today it is the movie Craven the Hunter. We apologize to everybody that we are 1 week behind. This was in theaters. Not many people saw it. It had the lowest opening weekend in the Sony Spider-Verse, which includes Morbius and Madam Web. It was getting absolutely pumped. Nobody saw it, but we saw it now. We've seen the film now.
I seen it.
It is 2 hours and 7 minutes long. Currently on Roddy T's. Quite a disparity here. Critics 16%. Sweet 16. Audience 73%. We begin as we do with all of our TV and movie reviews, spoiler free. Ryan, Craven the Hunter, did you like it?
No. Did you like it?
You know what, Ryan? Not really. No. I, as you know, wanted to, but I did not.
I tried my best. Now, as we've talked about on this podcast, we've almost been doing this a decade, and I have mentioned several times that Craven the Hunter is one of my favorite Spider-Man foes. I don't think anybody involved with this movie even knows who this fucking character is.
I was shocked that I started to doubt myself. And I was like, maybe I don't know who Craven the Hunter is because this does not appear to be Craven the Hunter.
No. And I am going to tell the 73% audience score just tells you how fucking stupid some of the people in this country are, in the world are. You're a fucking idiot. If you think this movie's good, fuck you.
Yeah,
I got 3 words for you. Fuck you. Like, this movie isn't good. I'm pissed. If you think this movie's good, I'm mad. I'm mad at you. Yeah. Enemy for life.
You know what I did do? And I knew this to be true, but I ended up going down like a deep dive on this. Aaron Taylor Johnson, the star of this movie. Mm-hmm. Do you know how old he is?
Yes, it's a Jared Saltalamacchia situation.
Yes, he is 34.
Yes.
His wife is 57, I believe.
Yes.
They met. She's a director. They met. He was 18.
Right.
She was in her 40s, and they met on set. And then they were together. And then when he was like 21, 22, they got married, and they've been together since. So she has 2 kids of her own. He has 2 kids with her. And he
which that in and of itself is wild.
The whole thing is wild. But you see him, he is just like shredded to pieces.
Oh, shredded beef.
The guy's a hunk. I mean, he might get best dripping hog and maybe most comely.
Not only that, this kid might be in one of the worst and one of the best movies of the year in the same fucking year.
I know he's sneaky, could be involved in the Jim Carrey 94 award.
Yeah.
Just because he is the face of this movie, and he himself wasn't bad with what he was given. Like, he was told to act this out. Like, it's not Craven. But then I'm thinking of him with like this like late 50-year-old like super cougar. I'm like, this guy is Craven the Hunter. He's hunting cougs.
He is hunting. He's out there hunting cougs. Now, what's crazy is looking at his. So he was in The Fall Guy.
Yes.
He was in this.
And he's coming up.
And he's going to be in Nosferatu.
Pretty good year.
And right before that, he was in Bullet Train. Which that movie, by the way, people sleep on that movie. That movie was good.
And just last night, he was in a 57-year-old.
In and out.
Then back in again.
Yeah. So am I right? It was a Jared Saltalamacchia that married his gym teacher? His high school gym teacher?
Close. Really close. His wife was a teacher at his high school, but according to reports, never taught his class.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right, sure.
She taught him something. Also,
I don't think the age gap was I don't think it's as big.
Let me see.
I think she was probably in her 20s and he was probably 17 or 18, and then they ended up going out. I bet it's not nearly the gap that Aaron Taylor Johnson.
So his wife is 53.
Salties?
Yeah. And he is
40?
39.
53. So that's 14 years difference.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's is, what did I say? 20.
It's significant. It's over 20. It's over 25 plus.
It's 35.
Yeah.
Great for him, dude. Honestly, I think great for him. I actually am like the opposite. I get grossed out by like the Bill Belichick younger. I hate that's gross.
Oh, that's so gross.
It's so gross for me. And like other people are like, yeah, he's living the dream. I'm like, is he though? Like,
is he though? Like that's kind of. And again, like, what do you two have in common? That's always my first question. Like, what do you talk about?
Not much.
Like so as you know, like my wife has I have a younger sister. My wife has younger sisters. Like, my sister's in her mid 30s, but like she has her youngest sister is 24.
Yeah.
Like, what do you talk about? Like, what would I like? I'm not romantically involved with my sister-in-law, but like what we're sitting across from each other at dinner. Like, what do we talk about?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you go to. Ryan, the story on this was just what it was. We'll get into it in spoilers, where there was just a lot of issues that we had. It's the Sony Spider-Verse that it's funny. Right after this movie came out, they're like, we're shutting it down. And then they're like, the next day, they're like, well, we might make Venoms. People do like the Venom movies and pay for the Venom movies, but we're done with everything else. So like,
see what I didn't get that impression. The impression that I got is they bailed on this Sony verse like halfway through this movie.
Yeah, like they told them like we're done. They're like, all right,
fuck. Now what are we gonna do? Like,
fine.
how are we gonna like we had all these tie-ins and now we don't have them anymore. Like you could see there are scenes in this movie where you could see like, all right, this is what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
and then fucking just bailed on it.
Took a shit.
One scene in particular, you're like, okay, like what does that mean?
Just took a meaty shit. Yeah. It's not a must see unless you are a comic book movie completionist like we are, but you can just wait till it's streaming. What is your hashtag dork score for Craven the Hunter?
1. Fuck this movie.
I'm gonna
quickest one I've ever given. 2. Oh fuck.
I'm going
fuck
2.
You.
It's better to me. It's better than Madam Web, and it's better than Joker 2.
All right.
Those were 1s. This was a 2.
I'll tell you what. So
did you not see the giant crossbow that he had at one point?
Oh,
it's
Jesus
a 2.
Christ.
It's a 2.
Also, they put the first 8 minutes of this movie online prior to the release. It's the best 8 minutes of the movie.
You know what's hilarious is like all the comments are like people be like, yeah, like I'm into this, I'm into this, I'm into this, and then I'm like, no, you weren't. Nobody saw it. It made like $11 million. Like nobody saw it.
Yeah,
but yeah, they did put out the first 8 minutes, which is like a lot of cliche kind of stuff. But yeah, it might have been the best 8 minutes as well. All right, if you're in the live YouTube chat, let us know what your Craven the Hunter score is. Also, hit us up on Twitter and Instagram at Dork Podcast with what you got. But let's get into spoilers.
Spoilers! 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 Here come the spoilers!
So Ryan, you know me. I very much like a vigilante. I don't think you have to be super good or super bad. I'm fine with that. I like a Ahsoka Tano. I like a Red Hood. I like sort of that, like a gray Jedi. Craven the Hunter, from my experience, whether it be the comic books or the video game, where there's a great version of Craven the Hunter in Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation, he is a villain. He is a villain. In this movie, there's not even any gray area. He's just a straight up good guy in this movie.
I'll take it a step further. You call this movie Craven the Hunter. He doesn't fucking hunt.
No, he didn't hunt.
He doesn't hunt. He's a friend to the animals. This guy was built upon the fact that like he was such a good hunter of animals that he ran out of things to do. So he started hunting people. And then he started hunting superheroes because he was that good at it. He doesn't fucking hunt. Not once. One time you're like, they call him the hunter because he's an assassin. But then he asks a lawyer for help. Yeah. He doesn't hunt.
He asked the lawyer for help. He did refer to himself as a hunter, and he says he is the world's greatest. He's the best. He's best at hunting. But
he doesn't hunt.
He's a friend of the animals. You're right.
He's taking out poachers.
Yeah.
He's protecting animals.
Yeah, I was very confused. And even at the end when he gets like his dad's like vest, I'm like, he actually looks very uncomfortable in it because it's made of animal furs, to which he'd be upset about.
Why did he take his shirt off to put a vest on?
Because he's shredded.
That's not
his straight,
like shredded, like staring at himself. Like, why? And the other thing,
what do you think his wife thought of that? Nice.
I like. But like, how do you call it Craven the Hunter? He doesn't even fucking hunt.
He didn't hunt anything.
As a matter of fact, he almost gets killed in the beginning of the movie because he doesn't hunt.
Right.
Because he refuses to shoot a lion that's coming at his brother, and he's like what the fuck?
I was so confused because he was set up at like so much. The writer, director, whatever, wanted the audience to like him so much that they wouldn't even let him harm animals. Like, to your point, they're like, we know, like, well, if he shoots an animal, like, the audience is going to turn on him. And it's like, yeah, he's a super bad guy. Like, he needs to get bored of killing the biggest lion in the world. And then Rhino, like, so Rhino's in this. That would have been a great guy for him to hunt. Yeah. Instead, Rhino is just this weird looking guy, and people are making fun of that. And you're right. You're like, what is Rhino really going to look like? It was just that whole side story was a mess.
And then that actor was fucking terrible.
The actor was distracting.
There was one thing they were trying to hunt Big Craven off. They're Russell Crowe. By the way, what the fuck? Have you ever seen such a downgrade in someone's acting ability than Russell Crowe? Like,
but also, have you seen somebody take the check more than Russell Crowe in this?
Oh my God.
That was like,
he looks like he's eating. He's whatever money they're giving him, he's eating it. Like whatever the fuck.
it looks like Russell ate a lot of crows.
Jesus Christ. So there's a scene where he like, they watching right, and they're trying to get Big Craven off, and they don't get him. And as this little manservant comes in, it's like, oh, it failed. And he like slams his hands on it. He goes like he makes like this really weird noise.
Yeah, that's good.
I was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, that was not.
These little stupid knapsack. Get the fuck out of here.
By the way, that was going to be my Friar's helmet for the most distracting piece of wardrobe in the film. Was his
knapsack,
his tiny little backpack that he had, this little thing that he'd squirt into his side.
Get like a strap it to your waist. Like, don't wear a backpack, you idiot.
Tiny little backpack. I'm like, dude, something's up with that guy. You can't be bringing that around.
Oh, fuck you.
So, but you bring it up, Russell Crowe. So his dad is like kind of the villain, and then disappears, and then like kind of is the villain again. And
who is the villain in this?
I don't know. Well, it should be Craven. It's not.
It's not.
How then I guess
bring him? Like,
for a minute it was Rhino, and then it was his dad though. Then his dad's like, I'm the one pulling the strings, and then it was like, I thought I missed a scene. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, all right, this movie's moving along, I suppose, and it should be wrapping up. And then it was like Craven and Russell Crowe are talking, and then he's just like mauled by a bear and he's dead. It was like a throwaway. I'm like, wait, he's dead? Like, that was it? Like, I was so confused by how Russell Crowe's character got smoked at the end. And it was like out of nowhere, and then it was over. And I'm like, okay.
And then his brother, his meek little brother, is like, no, I'm a bad guy now.
I'm the chameleon.
I'm chameleon, which, by the way, is canon. But like,
yes,
they're half brothers, and that actually is canon. But like,
and fun fact, Chameleon, first villain in Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Spider-Man 1, the very first villain was Chameleon. So Chameleon predates Craven, and then I think what Chameleon was probably like not that popular character at some point, and then so like tie him in that they are half brothers, and like they were sort of setting that up a little bit with like his like, oh, he can really disguise his voice as well, like because he sings.
Yeah,
he's a song and dance man. The brother
right.
is. That's Fred Herlinger,
yes.
Fred Hecklinger, who's from Gladiator 2 and White Lotus and a couple other things. That dude's in a lot of stuff. He's getting a lot of gigs.
Good for him.
Good for him. You know what he's not going to be in is Craven the Hunter 2 or anything else having to do with the Sony Spider-Verse. But again, you can't have Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man in them. They're not going to work. And the Sony got confused, and they're like, well, people seem to like Venom. It's like, well, Venom's a sweet character. He's also a little bit more of like a good guy, bad guy, both. And then, but then Tom Hardy's so good at it. I don't know. They still would be aided with Spider-Man, and then putting out Morbius, Madam Web, and this. You're like, where is fucking Spider-Man? And make Craven the Hunter like a badass. He is straight good guy. He doesn't do anything bad in this at all.
He actually says several times, like, I refuse to be like a bad guy, like my dad.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, so were they like, so let's say this did really well at the box office, hypothetically, and they made another one, or they were actually going to tie in a Spider-Man. Would they eventually make him bad so they could actually do Kraven's Last Hunt? Probably. I mean, I don't think so, because it's so far away from that it'd be
so
insane.
far away from it. It's such a weird jump.
Yeah.
Like, and again, that story is like he gets so bored of hunting animals and like bad people that he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna hunt Spider-Man. He actually beats him, puts him in, like, literally buries him alive, becomes Spider-Man, becomes a more successful Spider-Man than Peter Parker, and then Peter Parker comes back to life and he's like, let's fight. He's like, no, I don't have to fight. You already beat you.
So like, cool.
I already beat you.
So it's so good. How good was Spider-Man 2? What a badass villain he was. He was like intimidating as shit in the video game.
And that was like, and even then, like, I can spoil this now, but he was like dying, and he's like, this is it for me. Like, this is the last thing I'm going to do. It's literally my last hunt because I'm dying.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. Ariana DeBose, who played Calypso, fucking pathetic.
Ariana DeBose, yeah, out of nowhere.
Dude, archery at summer camp, like, oh Jesus Christ!
I hate it so much.
The guy who the foreigner, like, what the fuck was that? Like, that's a cool character, and like, by the way, what pissed me off is that the foreigner's whole thing, he can count to 10, not 3.
No shit. Because in the movie he seemed like way too like overpowered, like that, like he could dominate. Then all of a sudden, like nobody's dead. Like, well, I don't think that would like
with a massive like manual crossbow.
Yeah, I did like the crossbow. The crossbow to me was probably the Mjolnir, the coolest weapon. Did you have a what the fuck moment in this movie?
The fact that like he like named Craven the Hunter and he didn't hunt. Like he never hunted.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go live in nature with connected to my mom. And he's got like this like $1 million fucking bungalow that has like hidden weapons all over it. Like, what the fuck is this?
Biodome. I would say there was two. There was the one where like those guys showed up and they were like poaching, and then he like slid underneath like the tank, and literally the guy on the top of the thing was like,
what the fuck?
That's what the guy said. I'm like, here's the what the fuck moment. Or honestly, just how his dad got killed. Like, they're having a conversation, they like barely are even fighting, and then he just gets like mauled by a bear. I'm like,
or he's dead. He gets stuck in a fucking avalanche, and like neither him nor the guy he was fighting with got hit by a rock.
Yeah, no. Like, nope. What
did Calypso say? She did like she said some line like after she killed the foreigner that was like you just like I made like the like
I'm so mad right now.
Oh, and the other thing too, the thing that pissed me off, like, I could see you were trying to tie something, like, you're gonna see your worst nightmares, and there's just spiders. Like that's your tie-in, like, I don't like spiders.
Yep. It was spiders. That was what they did.
That was my what the fuck moment. Like, his worst nightmare is spiders.
100%. I remember seeing it too. I'm like, they're really laying it on thick here.
The guy who fist fought a lion is afraid of spiders.
Ugh. The only other tie-in I could see too was they had when they were searching through articles online. One of them was from the Daily Bugle. They did have a Daily Bugle in there.
And how about the foreigner being like, why do you want this guy? He's like, I had a mentor and he killed that guy. And the title of the paper just says like Hunter kills assassin or something like that. It was like the headline was like the dumbest headline I've ever seen.
You wouldn't have written that. You
like,
stupid idiot.
Yeah. J. Jonah Jameson would have never. It was Hunter versus assassin or something like that. I was like, get out of here. Like, that's so stupid. Like, again, fuck you, dickhead.
Yeah.
Grab his dick and twist it.
Oh my god, dude, this is an MMA fight, dude.
I don't think there was any
no
best
dick twisting.
I don't know, there wasn't any dick twists, there wasn't any male nudity. What are we, 10 years old? Best fight.
The best fight, again, it was the first 8 minutes of the fact that he like was hunting the guy in prison. And like the reveal that like when he wiped the tattoo off his neck and then they found the guy, like that's hunting.
Yes, good
like
one.
That's what he does.
That was good. Yeah.
And then you never did it again.
No.
As a matter of fact, you made him like not hunt.
Yeah.
Because again, like you're like, hey, I need you're a lawyer who has connections to all these criminals. Can you share with me their addresses?
Yeah.
Like
it might be
Huh? Can you tell me their exact location at all times? Like that's not hunting.
No, it's not. The My Shit's Fine award for the character who seems like he is in a different movie or show.
The foreigner.
Who?
The foreigner. Like like where did you first of all, where did he come from?
I don't know.
Who hired you? And like why are you here?
Yeah. That's a good one.
Or like Calypso doesn't who's like a voodoo priestess in the comics. Like, why are you there?
Yeah, because her grandmother saved Craven when he was little.
Kind of.
Gave him a potion. Yeah.
And she's like, you know what this is? And she's like, do you think that's the only stuff I had? It's like, well, what is it?
He's like, I need more of it. She's like, I don't have any more. And then he's like kind of hurt again. She's like, here it is, drink this.
Other things I have in my notes. It was the worst wire work I've ever seen in like a big budget movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the wire work was terrible.
That was you're like, should we shoot it again? Nah,
we got it. And shit. Some of the dialogue was brutal.
Dialogue was bad. Yep. Yeah.
And it the story kind of made sense, but I love how they have here's some stuff I wrote down. Poachers hunting in the middle of the day, just hacking horns off antelope in the middle of the day.
Just being
that's not how they do that.
No.
The face noise Rhino makes when they don't get Big Craven.
Oh, I know.
Male lions don't hunt. I don't know. I don't know who needs to know that, but
yeesh.
And they're never by themselves. You wouldn't just see a male lion unless it's one of those ones that's not in the pride anymore.
He was a hoss though, that one.
Yeah, I love. Oh, also the 1R-HI-NO was Rhino's license plate. One Rhino.
Kick ass. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Sweet dude.
And the thing that people do, when Pat said, and it's when he's running, he's running on all fours, that never looks right.
Yeah, you know,
it never looks right. You stop doing that.
Yeah, no, that looked, even that first 8-minute scene where that might have been the coolest scene. His athletic ability was a little much, or it didn't look right.
Yeah, and they never explained. Or how about one of the other batshit crazy terrible scenes was when the guy wouldn't hold the elevator for him, so he threw the knife into the up button.
Yeah,
and the guy he's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "This is my work knife, my travel knife." And he's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I'm a hunter." You're telling people who you are.
Anybody who'll listen. Yeah.
Anyone?
Anybody who'll listen.
Who are you trying to convince, him or me?
Yeah.
Or yourself that you're a hunter?
Fuck.
God damn.
It wasn't great. We had a feeling it might not be.
No, stupid.
Fuck.
I hate it so much.
It sucks so much too, because you and I and most people listening love the idea that it's not just Batman, Superman, X-Men movies being made. I love these side characters or even villains getting their own movie. But then you fuck them up, and then the studios are not going to be so scared to do that, because somebody will pitch something else down the road and they'll be like, hey, you know who needs a movie is Deadshot, and they're going to be like, can't do it. Craven the Hunter sucks. We can't do it. We can't make another movie. A Deathstroke. If you made a real Deathstroke movie, they'd be like, can't do it.
What's interesting? I said what was interesting.
What was interesting?
So, of all the comic book movies that came out this year, how many of them? I think there were 6. How many of them were positive on Rotten Tomatoes?
Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't positive. What do you mean it wasn't positive?
That's it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking one of our Dork Awards was or is best comic book movie of the year. I don't even know if we're gonna have 6 nominees, because and some of them might also be nominated in worst.
Yeah. So the movies we got were Venom: The Last Dance.
Yeah.
Craven the Hunter.
Yeah.
Madam Web. Animated shit. Madam Web.
Joker. Folie à
Deux.
Watchmen Chapter 1 animated.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And that's it.
The Crow, if you want to count.
Oh, the Crow. Yeah, the Crow was the other one. Fucking pathetic. But what I am excited for, and The Rock prophesized this, there's going to be a shift in the comic book movie universe now. I really think that DC is going to
Yeah, but The Rock said that about.
He said it about Black Adam, but I was making a joke. I didn't mean that.
Yeah. No, he might be right. Not about his own shit, but he might be
not his own shit. But he was right. He was kind of right.
Yeah,
that
right.
DC is now starting to turn the tables a little bit and be like, no.
Yeah.
And what people will never Sony will never understand is that you need fans. You need people who know the material to write the material. You can't just hire some shit bum who kind of wants to make a hero out of a villain. Don't do that.
So I'm glad you brought that up. I will wrap up on this. We had somebody email us about basically why are the Sony movies so bad? He's like, the Venom ones are kind of fun, but why are they so bad? And I think that's it. So Kevin Feige kind of oversees the MCU and makes sure that it steers in the right direction. Dave Filoni overseers Star Wars, make sure that goes in the right direction. And now James Gunn is in charge of the DCU, and that's, I think, going to be in good shape. I don't know who's in charge of the Sony stuff, and I think they get
lawyers. Like
too many
that's who,
producers, not a fan or
was
somebody.
Avi Arad, like, was he involved in that? But like,
I don't know. No, he's in a different group of bad movies, but yeah, that's kind of what it is. All right, so if you're watching on this, thank you first of all, and second, you can jump over to our other link, and we're going to rank all of the Spider-Man movies, regardless of Spider-Man universe, coming up next in our next episode. So thanks for listening to this one. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Dork Podcast, or at Dork Podcast. You can email us as well, dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Davey, promise me a million times over you'll never do another rule.
I don't give a shit. No, I'm not promising that. I don't give a shit about this.
The hashtag Dork Podcast.